Okay, Ben Jacobson here with Ben Jacobson Photo with an interval timer basic explanation and then a quick review of the two different options I have in front of us here. So interval timers do two basic functions for me. They really do four functions that I'll walk you through, but the two I use are I use the long option that you can basically tell it how long of a shot you want to take, up to 99 hours, I believe. And then the second one is to take an interval shot where you say take a shot every 30 seconds. And combining the function, you can say take a 3-minute long shot with 4 minutes between, and it'll do both of those things. So they're fun to play with. They're fun to make if you want to do interval movies. Like time-lapse movies, this is the way to do it. I know Nikons have the functionality built into their camera, but quite frankly, I've owned a Nikon and the menu was terribly confusing to get it set up. And in the end, I would just opt for a remote that does it anyway, because these are so simple to use. So first, let me just show you how they work. So this is my camera, my 5D Mark III, in bulb mode. Once you set it up in bulb mode, you then just come in here and you set up, the first option is self, which is how much of a delay there is, like your delayed shutter on the camera itself, 2 seconds, 10 seconds. You can set that up to be like 5 hours, take a picture for me. Wait 5 hours and then take it, or whatever. I generally never use that. The second option is how long the shot should be. So it's like a bulb mode timer, so that's 4 minutes. If you want to set that, you just tap the set button, scroll across so I can go down to 0 and up to 4 seconds, whatever, and then we're just going to hit start stop. It's now taking a 4-second long shot. Okay, it's done. So, and then if we hit set again and we go across, there's an interval of 1 second between shots here, which can be set. And then after that is the number of shots. So if I go down one here and set that, and then we'll go set actually and go interval 1 second, and we'll go long of 1 second as well, all the minimums. The beep is on. I can turn this on or off, but just so you know what's going on, I'm going to leave it on. So we have infinite number of shots, 1 second interval, 1 second shot, and we're going to hit set, and we're going to hit start. And you can hear it taking 1 second shots, 1 second apart, and beeping every time it finishes. So we're going to stop that. You can also set the number of shots to be, instead of just infinity, because that just goes until there's some other problem, you can go 399 as their max. And then the other nice function on this one is there's a light. It's kind of hard to see. There you go. But yeah, so it's very handy. I basically use this for two things. If I want to shoot with my 10-stop ND, I come over here to long mode, which hopefully you can see. Yeah, there you go. I go to the long exposure mode, and the camera can only do up to 30 seconds. Then you have bulb, where you have to hold it. And yes, any remote with this type of switch, including this remote, you just lock it down, use your stopwatch, and you're good to go. But I just find, even with, I'll use an iPhone with the fancy timers on it, I just find I will forget, it's 4 minutes long, you find yourself entertaining yourself somehow, throwing rocks, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's 6 minutes into it and you screwed it up. So I just prefer to have a remote that can do it for me. It's just handy. And then the other thing is for star trails specifically, you set up the number of shots and how long they need to be. Once you figure out your exposure, you dial the interval down as short as possible. So you go over here and go, we'll leave it at 399. You set your interval, which defaults to 1. See how even if you set it, this is the funny part, you go down to 0 and you click set, it goes back up to 1. And then for this, you set that for whatever you need. Generally, with my star trails, are 30 seconds or a minute. But yeah, you set all these up, you hit the button, and you can walk away, and it'll just take all the shots for you. Like I said, Nikon does have that in their cameras, but the menu is pretty bad in terms of setting it up. I've owned a Nikon, and I would prefer to use the remote. So that's why I use them. With star trails, you can also, a lot of the times you end up with 30-second shots. So if you put your camera in burst mode, and set your time to 30 seconds either in manual. You have to be in manual mode. So manual mode, burst mode, then you can just take a regular remote and lock the switch, and that will work until your buffer's filled, which usually doesn't happen. With some Nikons, it'll happen after 100 frames. It's kind of a feature to make you buy a D700 or a D4 or whatever, because those, or no, the D700 has that capability, which is really they're not letting you do something that their bigger cameras can do. So yeah, with this remote, you get around all that. You can do awesome star trails, whatever you want to do. So long exposures and star trails are really what I'm doing with it. So that's why you would use one. And now let's just look at the two different remotes next to each other. Now this bottom remote is a Vello shutterboss. It's a knockoff of Nikon's really nice interval remote. The top one is a Yang Nuao, which is from Deal Extreme. It is a knockoff of Canon's really nice remote, and even the part numbers are similar. I'm not going to get into them. I'll have them listed in the review. But this is Canon's, only knocked off. This is Nikon's, knocked off. Now, they both work pretty much identically, which is to say you can't really go too far wrong with either one. But one of the huge drawbacks with both of them is you can't turn them off. And this one, the Canon knockoff, uses, if I can get it open, the little round watch batteries, which I don't have around the house. The Vello, which is the Nikon knockoff, uses AAAs. So if you run out, you can just go and grab batteries. And like I said, they don't turn off. I've had this thing for a year now, and it's not out of batteries yet, so it's not really an issue. But say you're out on a trip and it runs out of batteries, you probably have AAAs in your bag, or at least maybe you'll carry them, but finding this is going to be a lot harder. The other thing is, you saw how I set it with the D-pad there. If we want to go here and set an interval, you have to press in on this and then toggle it up and down to get to where you want to go. And I've just found, I don't know if maybe it's because it's the knockoff and not the Canon's, because Canon's is like 150 plus. But a lot of the time it doesn't register some of your clicks. So it's just frustrating to make changes. And you can hold it and it will cycle through fast. But when I use this as my primary remote, I was very frustrated. One of my friends grabbed one of these shutterbosses at one point. I saw his, used it for 10 seconds, and immediately ordered one. So the shutterboss is that much better. I would just, basically, if you're going to buy one, spend the extra money and get the shutterboss. If you really want to not, if $50 is too much for you, you can find knockoffs of these on the Deal Extreme type sites. And like I said, this is a knockoff of Canon's, this is a knockoff of Nikon's, but they're both available in the knockoff flavors for all cameras. So you could get Canon's for a Nikon, or like I have, Nikon's remote for my Canon's. So you really, all the options are open there. They make them for Pentax, Sony, Canon, Nikon, Olympus, everyone. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this Vello shutterboss. It really helps with long exposures with my 10-stop, and it also helps with star trails. I will admit to when I do my normal landscape routine, my C options are dialed in to use the mirror lockup and 2-second delay, so I don't use it all the time. But I do use it excuse me, I do use it for the long exposure work, for star trails type work. And the other thing is, because I use 2-second delay, if I'm trying to time waves, sometimes it gets very difficult to get a wave in the exact right place. If I'm having trouble with that with my 2-second delay, I'll turn that off, plug in my remote, and then use it like everyone tells you to use in a landscape setting. I just prefer to not have a remote dangling from my camera whenever I can avoid it. So hopefully that helps with an explanation of how to set them up and why you would set them up, and just to show you the difference between the two remotes. Because like I said, I owned this Yang Nuao from Deal Extreme, and after owning it and using it for a while and just being frustrated with it, I saw the Vello and immediately knew I wanted one. So I went out and I ordered one of those to replace the other one, and I just figured I'd give you guys a review to see why the Vello is that much nicer. So if you're looking for a remote, even if you're looking for a general remote, I would highly suggest the Vello, because it brings enough extra features to the table over the standard remotes, and for not a whole lot of money at $50. that would be my remote no matter what, because you never know when you're going to get into needing an interval or a timer or a crazy delay or anything like that. So it's nice to have those options when you need them. So yeah, highly recommend the Vello shutterboss. There'll be links under the review to all the different flavors of it for you to grab the one you need. So this is Ben Jacobson from Ben Jacobson Photo, and I hope this helps explain how intervolts work and why you might want one. Thank you.